Is it true that separation is the leading cause of every problem? This is what some of your top psychotherapists are saying today. They're saying that this feeling of separation is the creator of anxiety, is the creator of depression, is the creator of worry, is creating all the problems you can think about. The problems of anger, the problems of shame, the problems of blame, the problems of war and conflict. All of this, all problems that you can think about are created through a feeling of separation. Is that true? My mind goes back to some of the oldest scriptures we have, thousands of years old, to a story where God said, the day you eat from the tree of knowing good and evil, you shall surely die. The day you eat from this particular tree where you think you have the answer, you have become independent, you've become separate from God, and you now can solve any problem. You know what's good, you know what's evil. The day you eat from this tree, you shall surely, and this word die means you will, this is my understanding of the Hebrew scripture death, that it can be translated is you will begin to separate. And the result of that feeling of separation immediately resulted in a feeling of shame, and later on in being cast out, being taken out of that place of the presence of God, the I am of God. Now, is this true? When we think about a problem and we begin to try and solve a problem, and the problem cannot be solved, so we think even more, I need to try and, I know what's good, I know what I need to do, and if I don't do this, something bad is going to happen. Let me solve this problem. And I start thinking about the problem more and more. Do you notice that you will begin to feel separate from yourself? You were at peace, you was in the I am, you was in the present. A problem came along and suddenly you begin to separate. You begin to find yourself somewhere else in your mind, trying to fix something that cannot be fixed. And the further away you get from yourself, the more feeling of anxiety, it could cause shame and all of these feelings of depression, depending on how long it goes on, that this thing is unsolvable. Can we relate to that? That every time we go into our head, into our minds to try and think and solve a problem, we remove ourselves, firstly from ourselves, and secondly from the presence of God. This is what happened in Genesis. And it's not until we come back to ourselves that we begin to come back to the presence of God. And we see this in the parable that Jesus talked about with the prodigal son. He'd left the presence of his father and he left with lots of gifts. Oh yeah, I know how to enjoy my life. And he goes away and he squanders everything on good living. He's just trying to feel good. He's just trying to have a happy life. And he lands up eating pig food and he's miserable. He's miserable and he's separated from himself. This is what the scripture says. He's separated firstly from himself and from his father. And then the scripture says, and then he came back to himself. And once he came back to himself, he began to journey back to the presence of his father. Are you trying to solve a problem today with your carnal mind, with your puny mind, eating from that tree where you think you know the answer, and it is creating more separation from yourself and from God, and you're feeling the effects of it. It feels terrible. Is it time to come back to yourself? Realize you cannot fix this in the state you're in. You have to come home. You have to come back to the presence. Leave the past. Leave the future. Come back to now, where God is waiting to welcome you back home. And with all the answers to everything you need, with the wisdom that you need to clothe you again with a lovely robe, as the scripture says, and a ring on your finger, and give you a party, give you abundant life.